Don't forget your homework. Yes, hopefully I didn't traumatize you using the word homework. As a homeowner, you do have homework though that people often don't tell you about, they forget about, they just don't want to do. If you're one of those kids in school that didn't even know what homework was, this one is something you're probably going to want to make sure to do since it has to do with your home, which is one of people's most biggest asset. So what kind of homework are we talking about? Look, we're getting into the fall season, especially here in the Chicagoland area when the seasons and temperatures change so much. Right now, technically, I'm not sure if it's fall right now. I think it's on the 21st is officially when summer ends. Look, I'm gonna say summer is basically over when football season starts. I'm gonna cover this up. You know, we're not doing so great this year, but I will say football season is the mark of when summer is over. And in fall season, when you have such a change with the warm season, and then you get the cold, snowy weather, it's going to have an impact on your house. So, what are some things that you need to do? Some homework assignments that you have to prep in the fall before the winter officially gets here. All right, the first and foremost, we got to have heat, right? When winter gets here and it's 0 degrees below freezing and you're cold, you want to make sure the last thing that happens is your furnace does not work. So make sure to test your furnace, make sure to have a tune-up, have somebody check it out, make sure that it works fine going into the summer or the winter, it's turned on, you got the pilot light on, no worries. Also make sure to replace the furnace filters. Nobody remembers to do that, nobody cares to do that. Please replace the furnace filters, get that set up and ready to go. Uh, what this is an undervalued. This is one that you don't really expect or you don't hear too much because nobody honestly really cares too much about it. But gutters, you want to replace or you want to clean out the gutters on your house. If you don't have gutter guards, if your gutters are open and you have a lot of trees around you, you need to clear those out. If you're wondering why does that matter in the winter, here's the thing. If they're backed up, right, and you don't have a lot of places for your drainage for the water to go to, when it snows, what's going to happen is you're going to get water leaking through the roof. And here's what I mean. If your gutters are full, typically it's going to snow, right? Let's hope it doesn't snow too much, but when your house gets a snow on the roof, you're going to have this layer, the top layer of snow, right? Eventually, depending on how warm it is, whatever, if you get a lot of snow, the bottom layer that's sitting above the roof is going to melt, and you're going to have water between the snow and the roof. And what happens sometimes is if the gutters are backed up, the gutters are frozen, there's no room for drainage in the gutters, the water has nowhere to go. So you have the top layer that's still snow, you have the bottom layer that's melted, that's water, and since there's nowhere for the water to go, it ends up leaking into the roof and it goes down and into the house. I'm trying to remember what the exact word is. I think it's water damming, something like that. Basically, even though you have snow in your roof, you still get water in your house because your gutters are not letting that water drain anywhere. So make sure to clean out your gutters before the winter gets here. Nobody likes to do it. I get it. Nobody cares to do it. But when you have a lot of leaves come off the trees, make sure to clear those out. So what else should you do? What else is on your homework list before the winter gets here? Some people have decks, some people have balconies. If you do have decks or balconies, make sure to seal those off. You know, the last thing you want to do is when you're excited, the spring is here, it's summer, you're excited to have people over, and then you look at your deck and it looks like complete garbage because it wasn't sealed off correctly. It's starting to rot a little bit. I'm not saying you probably don't have to do it every single year, but if you just never do it, eventually the water is going to seep into the wood. It's going to start rotting. It's going to be weak. It's not going to be very strong to be able to hold people up. And it's just not going to look great. So save yourself some time, save yourself some headaches so that when the spring comes and you're excited to have people over, have a barbecue, you don't have to worry or fret about replacing the deck or fixing this or repainting that. Get it sealed off before the winter. Make sure it's impenetrable to water or as much as it can be so that it looks fresh and ready to go when the summer gets here. Another thing to add that people sometimes forget, this one's a small thing, it's not really a huge thing to remember, but bring your water hoses inside. Whenever you use your water for flowers, cars, whatever you use it for, bring it inside. If you leave it out, there's a chance that there's going to be water in it, it's going to freeze, it's going to break the hose, and you're just going to have to buy a new one every single spring. So just bring it inside. That's what my recommendation would be, because you don't want to make the mistake of having a broken hose come springtime and have to buy one every single time. All right, sprinkler systems. Some people have sprinkler systems in their house. Again, same thing. Obviously, you can't bring them inside, but you want to drain them, empty the sprinkler systems, and winterize them to make sure the pipes don't freeze. There's no breakage. There's no issues with it. So make sure to winterize the system, drain the sprinkler system, so that you're good to go, or have your landscaper do that, so that you're good to go when the cold weather gets here. So what else? That's really the gist of it. That's mainly the most of what you want to do. The last one I'm going to say is probably the most common sense thing to do, but the last thing people think about because it's just it is taken for granted, I would say, and that's smoke detectors, and CO2 alarms as well. Like winter is going to get here. We're inside all day. We have the furnace going. We have gases in the house. We're stuck inside trying to stay warm, and we forget about everything that can happen. And we want to make sure we're protected in case a fire comes out. Maybe our furnace isn't working. Maybe there's gas in the house that we're not aware of. So make sure to have working CO2 detectors and smoke detectors so that you don't have any issues, or at least your house doesn't burn down, so you don't get carbon monoxide poisoning. So make sure to have those detectors set up and good to go. Again, people take that stuff for granted. They forget to check. They don't even look. Just take a glance at it. Make sure the batteries are working. Just press the button and test them out so that the detector works for you. So that it could save your life. It can save your life. So don't underestimate that. So that's it for Chris's Corner this Monday. Hopefully you're having an amazing Monday. It's a beautiful Monday, and we're ready for another week. If you have any questions, send me a message. If you have anything that I missed that you think, hey, what about, I've heard people do this in the fall. I've heard people do this with their house to make sure it's set to go. If there's anything I missed, just leave a comment and let me know, and it'll help anybody else who's watching the video who's thinking about what homework they need to do for the winter. So hopefully you have a good week. We'll talk soon.